Congressman, nice to see you, sir.
Good to be here.
All right, you wrote a letter with other members of Congress to the Speaker about this tentative tax proposal. What did you say, and why did you do it?
Well, it's a problem for two reasons. The President said the American people agree with him that we shouldn't be passing tax cuts for the well-off, millionaires and billionaires, and he's right. And this deal is going to add $1 trillion to our deficit over 2 years. And much of that is going to be to pay for tax cuts for the very well-off Americans. And you know what? Nothing against tax cuts for anybody. But if you can't afford it and you're simply going to make our kids and our grandkids pay for it, that's not a good deal for the economy. Second, it's a political trap, and it's the same trap the Republicans have effectively sprung before. We went from a record surplus in the Clinton years to a record deficit in the Bush years, with 2 wars on the credit card, the Bush tax cuts on the credit card, Medicare prescription drug on the credit card, and now this tax break deal is going to be on the credit card. And those Republican leaders who demanded this deal, as soon as the ink is dry, are going to vilify the president for adding another $1 trillion to the deficit.
All right, let me go into the whole issue of the cost, because every American's concerned about the cost. And before Congress wants taxes from any of us, whether you're lower, middle, or upper class, let me read this to you. According to the Council for Citizens Against Government Waste, members of the House and Senate have earmarked more than $1.2 billion for an alternate engine for the Joint Strike Fighter, the JSF, since 2004, even though the Department of Defense has repeatedly said it does not want or need the alternate engine, and both the Bush and Obama administrations have tried to eliminate it. So while you ask for more tax money and fight about that, we read about all the waste. Why are you aggressively going after some of the waste already in our system?
Well, you know, the taxpayers have a point. We should be doing both. And in fact, the Bowles Commission, the Fiscal Commission, was very good in saying we've got tough choices and everything has to be on the table. It has to be the spending priorities of Congress, which includes some of those earmarks and special interest bills. It's got to be some of the tax code provisions. It's got to be the defense budget, the intelligence budget. And we've got to get health care down. And in fact, the American people do get cynical when they see that Congress is unwilling to do some of the little things, but they get overwhelmed when they see that what we're about to do in one bill is add $1 trillion to the debt.
Well, but I go through a lot of them, and some are really puny amounts, you know, of $1 billion or $15 million, which now unfortunately become puny when we talk about trillion. But we don't, you know, there's not a huge sense of urgency when people run for office, when President Obama ran for office, when Senator McCain did. Everyone always talks about the waste, and we're going to get rid of the waste, but we don't see it. And suddenly now we're hearing about taxes and more taxes or not more taxes, and we're thinking, well, what about the aggressiveness on trying to clean up your house first before you ask for more money?
Well, a good point. And last year, actually this year, I started a deficit reduction working group where we proposed very specific and concrete cuts in some of the defense items and some of the farm subsidy programs.
Did you get it?
Including, we did not get it.
Why didn't you get it? It's your party who's running this place right now.
Well, you know, there's a lot of resistance to it, but my point is, I agree with American people who say, look, cut out the waste, start there. But also, the American people, my view, do not think that we can afford a tax cut for millionaires and billionaires who have been doing real well, and it's not against them. It's just, can you put that on the credit card?
How do we put your feet to the fire to go aggressively after the waste? Maybe you don't need as much from the millionaires and billionaires if you actually went after some of the waste. Recently, in the newspaper, made headlines that one Afghan leader was caught leaving or left Afghanistan with $52 million. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if it's our $52 million, but when we read stuff like that, you know, it's hard to say, like, go aggressively after that money, then come ask everybody for money.
I am with you on that. It is appalling what is happening with contractor fraud and abuse in Afghanistan. I mean, just take the Karzai brothers. They've enriched themselves enormously at the expense of taxpayers. We've got people on the CIA payroll who are flying out of Kabul with millions and millions of dollars. It's absolutely outrageous. And Democrats and Republicans should be able to work together better on that. I'm in agreement, so you're not going to get an argument with me. But the issue before us right now is this $1 billion bill, or $1 trillion bill.
But see, I'm saying it's out of sequence. I mean, the members of Congress have known since 2001 this was going to expire. And then now suddenly we're rushed up against the deadline, so everyone's hustling and running. And I might add, the tentative program is 2 years, so 2 years from now, at another election cycle, we're going to go through this. So how do the taxpayers say to you, first get the fraud and waste, then come see all of us about more money?
Well, you know what? It's about all of the above. If you have a household budget and you are paring everything possible back so that you can afford to pay your bills, but you still can't, a lot of folks would get a second job. That's what Americans do. So they might have to work harder and spend less because they're in a tough spot. The government has to do that. We should be doing more on the waste side. I mean, there should be zero tolerance for waste, whether you're Republican or Democrat. But you also have to have a sensible tax policy. You've got to, I think, lighten the burden on middle income and working families. You've got to ask the folks who've done real well to pay their fair share, and certainly not put their tax cuts on the credit card. So I think we got to do both.
All right, if you could pull President Obama aside and have a little conversation with him, what do you say to him?
We're in the 7th inning. Don't walk off the field until the last pitch is thrown. I mean, the American people are on his side. They understand that we should not be putting these high-end tax cuts on the credit card because it's not going to be fair to our kids and grandkids. And he's got some more pitches to throw. So hang in there. We can win this.
When is compromise weakness and when is compromise strength?
Well, compromise is absolutely essential. And the question is, what's the compromise ultimate result? And in this case, we're paying an awful lot. $1 trillion is the total cost to get a very little. The extension of unemployment benefits and some other good things that I think we should pass, but not at this price.
Congressman, thank you very much, sir. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.